Let's bring back our panel, Ramesh Ponnuru, Jonathan Martin, and Christina Bellantoni. Ramesh, Jon Huntsman, former Utah governor, former China ambassador in the Obama administration, has started to get a lot more aggressive lately with his Republican rivals. Let's listen to something he said this weekend, come back and talk about it.
I don't know if that's pre-secession Texas or post-secession Texas, but in any event, I'm not sure that the average voter out there is going to hear that treasonous remark and say, that sounds like a presidential candidate. I think when you find yourself at an extreme end of the Republican Party, you make yourself unelectable.
Well, okay, so we know he was talking about Rick Perry, the governor of Texas. What is this strategic gambit by Huntsman?
Well, he's apparently decided that combativeness and defensive moderation is no vice. I think there's two things. One, he needs attention. And two, he's decided there's an underserved market in the Republican primaries, that there are still Republican moderate voters and moderate conservatives, and nobody else is catering to him, so he may as well.
Are there, Jonathan, the 2010 Senate primaries, I know a Senate primary isn't a presidential primary, but the 2010 Senate primaries didn't, we had Joe Miller, we had Rand Paul, we had Christine O'Donnell, dare I invoke her name? It didn't suggest that there is, to Ramesh's point, or Jon Huntsman's point, that there is this. Is there?
I think that there's an element of not just Republicans, but definitely independents in a place like New Hampshire that do look at the field and sort of cringe when they see some of the candidates and some of their comments. But here's the challenge for Huntsman, though, is that how much does that add up to, Chris? Is that a plurality even in a primary? I mean, I'm uncertain about that.
Yeah, I'm a little more cynical on this. I think, he's positioning himself, if it could all work out and somebody flames out, maybe they would elect a moderate as the nominee in 2012, but everyone will remember him in 2016 as the guy who was to the left of the Tea Party candidate, should that not go well for the Republicans.
But the 2016 gambit, I mean, we hear so much about this. He's really running for 2016. Is there a reasonable, Christina, is there a reasonable assessment in which, unless maybe Michelle Bachmann winds up the nominee and she loses badly, is it that the Republican Party says, you know what, no, we do need a moderate who served in the Obama administration?
No, I think it's not a very good strategy. And the other part of this is that he's not even competing in these primaries in some of the key states. I mean, he got 69 votes in the Iowa straw poll.
All right, from the sublime, perhaps, to the ridiculous, let's talk about Mitt Romney. This is the story I was most fascinated over the weekend. The San Diego Union Tribune, he's tearing down his 3,000 square foot house to build an 11,000 square foot house. Now, Jonathan, let's quickly, Politico had a great story last election about John McCain. You were in that interview, unable to say how many houses he owns, right? Mitt Romney seems to be aware of that and has sold off some of his homes, right, to avoid being the rich guy in the race. Does this matter?
I think it does matter in the sense that if you've got either a primary opponent or President Obama who wants to sort of make a class-based attack against him, this is a pretty nice thing to hold up. How many Americans right now can afford to bulldoze their beachside home and quadruple its size? And look, the Romney line makes sense. They have 5 kids. They have 16 grandkids.
Right. With a big family, we need a big house.
Get that. But the optics are still Pacific, La Jolla mansion, and you're quadrupling the size. It doesn't look good, especially for a guy whose whole campaign is based upon, I feel your pain on the economy.
Right. The president doesn't, and I do. Ramesh?
So this time you're going to ask him how many square feet he owns and try to stuff him that way. Look, this is Governor Romney's stimulus plan, and it's creating jobs in the construction industry. Something the Obama administration has signally
heavily Republican.
Shovel-ready.
Ramesh, quickly, is it a fair or unfair attack? A lot of people, and I can feel the emails and the tweets coming in from Republicans saying, you guys are focused on the wrong thing, the unemployment rate is such and such, you focus on Mitt Romney's house, it doesn't matter. Does it matter or not?
Fair's got nothing to do with it. The question is, does it work or does it not work? I think with this unemployment rate, it doesn't work.
Okay. Shameless plugs. The best part of the show, Christina, go.
I will be leading a study group at Harvard's Institute of Politics in the fall. So if you know anyone who will be an undergrad at Harvard who's interested in politics, I need lots of people to attend.
Is that a 4-year school?
I think it's still accredited. I'm not totally sure. Jonathan.
Politico and NBC have the first post-Labor Day debate coming up, the Wednesday after Labor Day, so 2 short weeks from now. The first debate with Rick Perry also up there. It should be fun.
Ramesh.
And during that debate, you can follow @Ramesh Ponnuru on Twitter.
Oh, the Twitter plug! You backdoored the Twitter plug here. Well done. I just want to make a quick shameless plug for Harvard's Institute of Politics, where Christina is going to be a fellow. Jonathan and I have both spoke up there. A great place.
Great place.
See you there.
That is it for this edition of the Daily Rundown. Coming up next on MSNBC, Chris Jansing and company. Then at 1 p.m.